minority leaders that the president designated. Look at the person next to you and say, so what good are they? It's necessary to use them in much the same manner in which we use minority members who are agents of the Central Intelligence Agency and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And we cannot, until there is no alternative, reveal King Alfred with all its aspects. In other words, I ain't supposed to be standing up here telling y'all about this. You're not supposed to know about this. You see, brothers and sisters, the only way to prevent a conspiracy is to expose it.
Yes, yes.
Notice the next sentence, y'all. Minority members of Congress will be unseated at once. Uh-oh. You mean Maxine Waters? She's a sister who speaks out for us. And the law has been written that when the president declares this emergency, so what, Maxine? You just another Nigger. Conyers, you just another Nigger. When the president decides that y'all gotta go, all of y'all out of here. That's the law, people. Signed by the President of the United States. Let's go on to the next memo because I'm running way out of time. From the Department of Defense. This memo is being submitted in lieu of a full report from the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Now this is from the DOD now, Department of Defense. That report is now in preparation. There will be many cities where the minority will be able to put into the street a superior number of people with a desperate and dangerous will. Look at the person next to you and say, and that's because we got a lot of black folk. He will be a formidable enemy, for he is bound to the continent by heritage and knows that political asylum will not be available to him in other countries. Why not? Because they done worked it out, y'all, to where you got to get their permission to leave this country now. No passport, you ain't going nowhere. In the case of a national emergency, boom, all passports are suspended. How you gonna get out of the country? I got a passport, so? You think you got an important document? That's what's deep. That's just their permission for you to go. Goes on to say, the greatest concentration of the minority is in the Deep South, the Eastern Seaboard, the Great Lakes region, and the West Coast. Now, while the national population exceeds that of the minority by more than 10 times, we must realistically take into account the following. 1, an estimated 40 to 50% of the white population will not, for various reasons, engage the minority during an emergency. Reason why the white folk ain't gonna try to get out there in the street and engage us is because they know they ain't gonna win. No. They'll get out there in the street and they'll see Shaka Zulus everywhere. And they ain't gonna stand there. No, they don't want that. Number 2, American armed forces are spread around the world. A breakout of war abroad means fewer troops at home to handle the emergency. 3, local law enforcement officials must contain the emergency until help arrives, though it may mean fighting a superior force. New York City, for example, has a 25,000-man police force. Well, now it's more like 55,000. And there are about 1 million minority members in the city. We are confident that the minority would hold any city it took for how long, no? Only a few hours. Why? Because the lack of weapons, facilities, logistics all put the minority at a final disadvantage. Now notice this next part. Before we even read this next paragraph, say this with me. Black folk don't belong in the military. Don't so. No. Now I know it's real good when you get in there and they give you room and board and everything, and you know, you stay in there and do your time and they take care of you for the rest of your life, supposedly. But you know, especially now, no. And I'm going to tell you, we're getting ready to read why right now. Notice what it says. Since the Korean War, this department has shifted minority members of the armed forces to areas where combat is most likely to occur, with the aim of eliminating through combat as many combat trained military servicemen as possible. Why is that? They can't afford to have combat military trained black folk on the streets here. There's a movie I encourage y'all to get called The Spook Who Sat by the Door. It's about a black man the first black man who became a member of the Central Intelligence Agency. And after he learned all of their skills and training, he resigned, went back to the black community and taught all those skills to the brothers in the hood. He was a dangerous human being. They couldn't figure out where all this mess was coming from. They thought another nation had launched clandestine war against the United States. And it was brothers in the community who had learned the covert activities that the United States government had trained his brother. Today, the ratio of minority member combat deaths in Vietnam, of course this was again written back in the 60s, where they are serving as advisors, is twice as high as the minority population ratio to the rest of America. Now, here it gives a timetable for how this plan is to be implemented. Brothers and sisters, I don't know if you can even get your mind to fathom what I'm about to tell you. But here they have this thing so organized that they actually got it worked out to how they can actually round up, arrest, and detain and incarcerate all of the black people in this country in an 8-hour period. Notice what it says. Number one, local police and minority leaders in action to head off the emergency. In other words, those hand-picked leaders by the president, first thing they do, they send them in, try to get black folk to stand down. You know, now don't try to go in and tell them, don't tell them you came in there to stop them. Go on and let them march a couple of blocks. Yeah, let them march a couple of blocks. Let them sit down on the highway for 20 minutes. But then cause them to stand down. Lead them into the paddy wagons. Or talk to them and say, all right, y'all, it's time for us to go now. 2, countdown to 8 hours begins at the moment the president determines the emergency to be national, coordinated, and it's going to last a while. 3, county police join local police. That's the 7th hour. 6th hour, state police join county and local police. 5th hour, federal marshals join state, county, and local forces. 4th hour, National Guard units are federalized and held in readiness. Now, down to the 3rd hour now. Regular armed forces alerted, take up position. Now notice this, highlight this part. Minority troops divided and detained. Y'all see this? In other words, yeah, you in the Army, you in the Marines, with your M16. But when the president declares an emergency, we're going to take your M16 from you, even though you done went and almost gave your life for this country. When the president declares an emergency and it's time to round up all these black folk and put them in some of these storage facilities. Until we decide what we're going to do with them. Y'all, why you think they building all these storage facilities? Y'all ain't got that much stuff to put in storage. Come on, y'all. Think. Storage facilities with running water. What boxes need with running water? Oh, man. Minority troops divided and detained along with all white sympathizers under guard, down to the 2nd hour. All minority leaders, national and local, detained. Why is it that they want to detain the leaders?